Welcome back. Today we are going to discuss May and June current affairs based questions. Part 2. In this video we are going to discuss 20 questions based on May and June current affairs. In these questions include governance questions, environment questions, disaster management questions, science and technology questions, geography questions, economic questions. So we are going to discuss these 6 topics. So let's start discussing. Consider the following passage. It is also known as elongated tortoise. It is widely distributed over eastern as well as northern India and southeast China. According to IUCN Red List, it is critically endangered. The population of species may have fallen by about 80% in last 3 generations according to IUCN. Which of the following tortoise represent above mentioned passage? Indian soft shell, Indian tent, Indian flap shell, salt forest tortoise. Why this question has been asked? First of all, because WII, what is WII? Wildlife Institute of India said that this elongate tortoise, for 90% of the elongate tortoise falls outside of protected area network. Okay. For extra information, you should also know that 29% of tigers fall outside of protected area network, 67% of elephants fall outside the protected area network, 100% of dolphins falls outside the protected area network, 50% of antelopes falls outside the protected area network in India. This is all in India. Just for extra information I am giving. Okay. Now see the options. Indian soft shell, Indian tent, Indian flap shell, salt forest tortoise. See, if you know that these 3 are turtles, then answer should be D. Okay, what about this Indian soft shell? It is endangered. Indian tent, it is least concern and found at Chambal River. Indian flap shell is vulnerable. This one is critically endangered. This is very much in news. That's why this question is framed. Now come to the second question. Consider the following statement. It comprises semi-evergreen forest, deciduous forest, littoral and swamp forest and patches of wet evergreen forest. It is an identified important bird area notified by Bombay's Natural History Society. It is a national park as well as biosphere situated south bank of river Brahmaputra. Which of the following national park is described in the above passage? Because they are talking about both national park and biosphere reserves, and they are mentioning about Northeast India. How you can guess it is Northeast India? Because of Brahmaputra. So in Northeast India, how many bio reserves are there? 1, Dibang in Arunachal Pradesh, 2, Manas, 3, Dibru Saikova, 4, Nokrek, 5, Kanchenjunga in Sikkim. These are the 5 bioreserves in Northeast region. Now you tell me which are the national parks under this. Manas and Dibru Saikova are the national parks. in Assam. Okay, No Creek National Park is in Meghalaya. This is in Sikkim. And Dihang and Dibang is in Arunachal Pradesh. You should know this. And now the question is why this question has been asked. Because of Assam gas leak. Where it has happened at Bagjan well. It is under control of Indian Oil Limited. Okay, this Bagjan well is very near to Dibru-Saikhowa National Park. Dibru-Saikhowa National Park. Because of this gas leak, many dolphins, Gangetic dolphins were dead and many birds were dead. So by now you would have come to know that answer is Dibru-Saikhowa. But what if UPSC asks map based questions to arrange, if it asks you to arrange east to west or west to east, if it is Assam, imagine it is Assam map. Where is Manas? Manas is here. Where is, this is which national park? Orage National Park. Here Kaziranga will be there. Kaziranga National Park. Here Dibru-Saikhowa National Park will be there. So river will flow like this. This is Brahmaputra. So this is south to the Brahmaputra, this is south to the Brahmaputra, this is north, this is north. So here you should understand. Kaziranga is famous for one-horn rhinoceros. Only this national park has one-horn rhinoceros? Question mark. No. Here Manas also has. Oreg also has. But here 90% of India's one-horn rhinoceros located. So this is all about this question. Now come to the third question. Consider the following statement regarding Natural Disaster Management Authority. Why this is in news? Because COVID-19 is declared as notified disaster, and this organization has launched a protocol that is National Migrants Information System. Why they have launched this? Because India lacked reliable migrants data. Because of this, central government has faced challenges to implement welfare schemes for migrants during lockdown. As a solution for this, they have launched National Migration Information System. So come to the question now. It is apex statutory body for disaster management in India. This is established under National Disaster Management Act. Because it is established by an act, any body established by an act is a statutory body. It has its own act, so it is statutory body. So one is correct. Its chairman is Ministry of Home Affairs. It is the apex body to lay down policies, plans and guidelines for disaster management. See, you can say this is right, this is right. What about this? This is wrong because its chairman is Prime Minister, not Home Minister. So answer is C. Come to the fourth question now. Which of the following statement is are correct regarding Swadesh? Wait. So what is Swadesh here? Swadesh is skilled workers arrival data for employment support. Skilled workers arrival data for employment support. What this is? Skilled workers arrival data for employment support means skilled workers are coming to somewhere because this is arrival data, and employment support to give employment to this skilled workers. This is the scheme launched by the government of India. Skilled workers arrival data employment support. Okay, this is launched under what? Vande Bharat mission. What is this mission all about? Evacuation exercise to bring back Indian citizens stranded abroad due to coronavirus induced travel restrictions. Okay, because of travel restrictions, these Indian citizens who are in abroad are stuck in those countries. To bring back them to India, they have launched Vande Bharat mission. Okay, under the Vande Bharat mission you will bring back them. What about their employment? Okay, the people who went there are workers, means already they have skills, but you have to accommodate them in India by giving suitable employment, right? That's why they have launched Swadesh. Who have launched this Swadesh? Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Ministry of Civil Aviation, and Ministry of External Affairs. These three ministers collaborated and launched this Swadesh. This will be implemented by whom? National Skill Development Corporation. But whole question is how government will come to know. There are millions of people who may return to India, but how government will come to know who has certain type of skills? They will come to know by distributing Swadesh skill cards. How they will distribute these cards? These cards will distributed by making them to enroll on online. Likewise, government will have data regarding people who are returning from the abroad. These data will enable government to provide them suitable employment opportunities. So now let's take up the options. The initiative taken under as part of the Vande Bharat mission. True. It is a joint initiative of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship and Ministry of External Affairs. Wrong, because what about the Ministry of Civil Aviation? The national, if you know 2 is wrong, answer is C. That's it. No need to check what is 3 and 4 also. So come to the next question. Which of the following falls under the Pakistan occupied Kashmir? Here you should understand Pakistan occupied Kashmir. What is Pakistan occupied Kashmir is okay, this is Kashmir thing. It is this entire thing is under the control of the Pakistan. This is known as Gilgit Baltistan region. Recently Pakistan has announced this region as its 5th province. Okay, so here Here Daimar Basha Dam is there. Here Kolaha hydropower project has been agreed between Pakistan and China. But actually these two are present Indian territory. Actually these are Indian territory but occupied by the Pakistan. But these two are constructed in Indian territory, so these two are controversial projects. And here one road also they are constructing. This is known as what? Here Gwadar is there, Gwadar port. This one is Kashgar in China. It passes through Indian territory, Pakistan occupied Kashmir and to Gwadar port. What is this? This is known as China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. It is part of China's one road, one border or one border, one road initiative. So now you understood about this. Now what is the options? Falls under the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Kohal correct. Daimar Basha Dam correct. Fifth province of Pakistan because Gilgit and Baltistan. So answer is D. Now come to the next question. I commit is an initiative related to environment. Why? Because of climate change. Which is the biggest contributor of CO2 emission in India? It is electricity. Okay, so to conserve energy, Ministry of Power, not don't think it is Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change. This is wrong. It is Minister of Power who initiated I Commit. This I Commit is driven by Energy Efficiency Resource Service Limited. It is the objective of this I Commit is to building energy resilience future is the objective. So now we'll look at options. The initiative is driven by Energy Efficiency Service Limited, correct. It is centered around the idea of building an energy resilience future, correct. Answer is C. And it is under the Ministry of Power. Come to the next question. Consider the following statement regarding ham radio. What is ham radio? It is a non-commercial radio communication, unlike our FM. It is non-commercial. These are mostly used by the individuals during disaster, to establish communication. Recently, why it is in news? Recently in Bangalore, to attain quarantine objectives, that is, it tends to ensure that citizens are following quarantine protocol strictly. Okay, so how this ham radio works? It is a two-way radio communication. It uses many frequency bands of across the radio spectrum. It is regulated by whom? Indian Wireless Telegraph Amendment rules. Who can use? Is it citizen or non-citizen? Citizen, not non-citizen. Citizen should be above 12 years. This much you should know about ham radio. Recently, even during cyclone Yas, ham radio operators are helping in relief and rescue operations in West Bengal. Recently means when in May 2021. Now let's see the options. It is a non-commercial two-way radio operation communication. It uses many frequency bands across radio spectrum. Correct. It is regulated under Indian Wireless Telegraph Amendment rules. Correct. It is a non-commercial radio communication service. Correct. Any citizen of India who is above 18 years of age can become a ham. Wrong. It is 12 years. So eliminate 4, 4, 4, 4. Answer is A. So this technology is used in COVID. This technology has been using for since very long during cyclone disasters and avalanches disasters, landslides disasters. So let's take up the 8th question. Consider the following statement regarding Garibi Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan. After COVID-19 outbreak, the government of India announced blanket lockdown, right, in 2020 March. As this lockdown had been extended by the government, many has lost employment. Okay, among these many, majority are migrant laborers. So what they have done, because of lack of employment and lack of food, lack of money to sustain, they started going back to their hometowns. Okay, they started going back to their hometowns. Migrants started going back to the hometowns. So after going back to the hometown, still they don't have money, right? Whose responsibility is to generate employment now? It is central government's responsibility. So government came up with Garibi Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan with 50,000 crores. Its aim is to provide employment for 125 days. Where they are providing employment? They are providing employment in rural areas. That means in rural public works schemes. Under these schemes, there are many works. They are recruited for Jeevan Jal Abhiyan, for works of Gram Panchayat Bhavan, for plantation works, for horticulture works. This is all about the scheme. The scheme is implemented by whom? Ministry of Rural Development. So the scheme will empower and provide livelihood opportunity to returnees, migrants and rural citizens, correct? This campaign will work in mission mode for 125 days, correct? Implemented by Ministry of Rural Development, correct? Answer is D. One more question you have to know is this scheme is implemented in all states? Answer is no, because it is implemented only in 6 states. What are 6 states? You know that UP, Bihar, MP, Rajasthan, Odisha and Jharkhand. These are the 6 states. That's it. You should know. Consider the following statement regarding Jal Jeevan Mission. Why it is news? Because the Ministry of Jal Shakti has announced that the migrants will be provided employment under Jal Shakti mission works. This comes under Garibi Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan, right? So you should know about Jal Shakti mission, which is very famous because of water scarcity in India, growing water scarcity in India. It ensures supply of 55 liters of water per person per day to every rural household to functional household tap function by 2000 connections by 2024, correct? It focuses on integrated demand and supply side demand management of water, correct? This mission is based on community approach to water, correct? This mission actually looks to create Jal Andolan for water. That's why this Andolan is based on the community participation. So come to the next question. Question number 10. Niti Aayog members has favored for imposing border adjustment tax. In the name itself, it is mentioned that the tax is imposed at border. Okay, but question is it for exports or imports? If any country want to tax on product, it will tax on product which will benefit to the country. So if the country tax on exports, what will happen? Indian products will become costlier in the foreign. If India is exporting to Pakistan some products, here because of tax they have to pay at the border, it will become costlier in Pakistan. So nobody will buy in Pakistan. So it will lose to the Indian manufacturer. In turn, it will lose to the Indian economy. So definitely India is not going to impose tax on exports, but on imports it will impose. Why? Imagine from in China products are coming to India. Chinese products are very cheap. Imagine they are sending one pencil is equal to 20 rupees in China, but in India it is 30 rupees. Now India will tax on Chinese 20 rupees pencil. It will become 35 rupees. India's pencil will be 30 rupees. People will buy 30 rupees pencil, not 35 rupees. So what happens here? People are buying more domestic goods. If more domestic goods are people are buying more domestic goods, what happens? Domestic manufacturing production will increase. When domestic manufacturing production increases, what happens? Domestic employment will increase and GDP will increase and everything will increase. It is healthy to the Indian economy. So what happening here? If India don't tax the 20 rupees and the pencil is 30 rupees in India, this is Indian pencil, this is Chinese pencil, what happens? If it comes to India, everybody will buy 20 rupees pencil. Nobody will, very less people will buy 30 rupees pencil. Everybody will buy 20 rupees pencil. So here Indian manufacturing sectors will not grow because of Chinese low product, and it is affecting their growth, and it will affect Indian economy and employment and inflation, everything. So by taxing these border adjustment tax, by imposing this, what happens? We are doing good to the domestic manufacturing units, right? Then here the question is, where you have to tax. See, this is a border adjustment tax rate. It is not something imposed on the producer. It is imposed on the consumers, because a goods entering the country means what? Consumer is buying it. So it is imposed at the consumer, not at the production level. So it is known as destination tax. What is example of another destination tax? Famous example, GST. GST also will be imposed at the consumer. Example, if you order food from Swiggy, if you order cake, it is 100 rupees, but your cost won't be 100 rupees at the final value. It will be 100 plus 18% of GST. So who is paying this GST? The guy who is consuming it, not the guy who produced it. So GST is destination tax. Likewise, border adjustment tax also destination tax. It is the duty that is imposed only on imported goods, in addition to the consumer customs levy that gets charged at port of entry. Correct? It is a fiscal measure that imposes a charge in accordance with the destination principle of taxation. This is correct, because see, very simple. Fiscal and monetary policy. In monetary policy, what measures will be taken? Interest levels, increase or decrease. In fiscal, what measures? Taxes, impose taxes, increase or decrease or reduce expenditure. Okay, fiscal consolidation. This is okay. This is a fiscal policies. So this difference you should know. If you know this difference, then you will not get confused with fiscal measure or monetary measure. So answer is C. Come to the 11th question. With reference to the Indian gas exchange, which of the following statement is are correct? The gas available in India are two types. One, domestically produced, one imported gas. This imported gases are from three spots. One, Dahej, two, Hazira, three, Kakinada. Okay, domestically produced. The prices of these will be determined by spot exchange of forwards. These will be determined by government. What is this spot exchange? This will be delivered for the immediate sale. On the spot it will decide. What is forward? Forward means the name itself, it is there. This is delivered on the future date. Means in future this will be delivered. And this Indian Gas Exchange is under the subsidiary of Indian Energy Exchange. What about this Indian Energy Exchange? It is first and largest energy exchange in India. Okay, and it is publicly listed with NSE and BSE. What is NSE? National Stock Exchange, and Bombay Stock Exchange. This one is approved and regulated by Central Electricity Regulatory Commission. This one is statutory body because it is established under Electricity Act 2003. So here what you have to learn, you have learned about Indian Gas Exchange, you have learned about Indian Energy Exchange, you have learned about CERC 2003. So what you can exchange here in Indian Energy Exchange: renewable energy certificates 1, 2, energy savings certificate, 3, physical delivery of electricity. These three things you have to remember. So now let's see the options. With reference to the Indian Gas Exchange, which of the following statement is correct? It is wholly owned subsidiary of Indian Energy Exchange. Correct. It will allow buyers and sellers of natural gas to trade both in stock market and forward market. Correct. Domestically produced natural gas is decided by the government, will not be sold on the gas exchange. This is also correct. Answer is D. Come to the second 12th question. What is monetization? Monetization is monetization of fiscal deficit. What is fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit is, it is the shortfall of government income compared to its spending in common man term. Okay, government income is 100 rupees, it is spending 200 rupees. Means what is the deficit? Deficit is 100 rupees. When the government had 100 rupees deficit, they cannot borrow more and more now. If they keep borrowing more and more, inflation will be affected. Okay, and the funds will be entirely borrowed by government, so it will be left less to the private players, which will impact investment. This phenomena is known as crowding out phenomena. Okay, to avoid this, government should not cross certain limit of deficit. If the 100 rupees is the deficit limit, then it should not cut 100 rupees, it should not cross this limit. But still, like COVID situations, what it makes government have to cross 100 rupees limit. How it have to cause is the question. It can cause without affecting this deficit. That is how, through monetization of deficit in two ways. That is direct monetization, one is indirect monetization. In direct monetization, what happens? Government will issue government bonds. RBI will go and buy these bonds in primary market. Okay, when it buys this bond, the money, this bond will come to RBI and money will go to government, and government will spend in the market. This will increase the demand. Okay, this is about the direct monetization. What about the indirect monetization? Indirect monetization, the government issues bonds in primary market. RBI purchase these bonds in secondary market in the form of open market operations. Okay, this is indirect monetization. In direct monetization, RBI will buy in primary market. In indirect monetization, RBI will buy in secondary market. Okay, but the question is, from where RBI will get money to buy these bonds? RBI will get money to buy this bond by printing new money, new currency. That's it. This is what you should know for prelims. Because during COVID-19, there is a suggestions to the government went to opt for monetization of deficit and should not worry about fiscal deficit, or for monetization of deficit, because India needs government to spend more on health, on welfare, to safeguard citizens' life. So let's look at options. Direct monetization. In this method, deficits are monetized as the government issue bonds in the primary market, and the RBI purchases an equal into the amount of government bonds from the secondary market in the form of open market. This is wrong. This is indirect monetization. In indirect monetization, under this method, RBI prints new currencies and purchase government bonds directly from primary market using this currency. This is also wrong. This is direct monetization. So answer is D. Come to the 13th question. Which of the following statements are correctly matched? Project and collaboration. Kolangchu, India, Bhutan. Pancheshwar, India, Nepal. Maitri Thermal, India, Bangladesh. So why this question? India and Bhutan signed a pact for first joint venture hydropower project. What is this hydropower project name? It is Kolangchu project. It is about 600 megawatts. Pancheshwar is between India and Nepal. Pancheshwar project is on Mahakali river. And Maitri Thermal, India and Bangladesh. It is also correct. So answer is D. Because the agreement happened between India and Bhutan, you should also know about India and Nepal, India and Bangladesh power projects. Because UPSC may ask in match the following, or may ask in any type of questions. So next one is, in the recent death of father son due from Tamil Nadu has brought back talks on police reforms. Which of the following committee recommended police reforms? This father and son were killed in police custody. This is termed as a torture. Okay. United Nations Convention Against Torture. Okay. India is not signatory, you have to remember, not signatory to this convention. but United Nations is forcing India to sign this convention. According to the National Campaign Against Torture, 3/4 of deaths in police custody is due to torture. 3/4. Even in Ramurthy versus State of Karnataka, the Supreme Court has identified torture as an issue and it should be reformed. Now let's see the option. Gora Committee, Rai Bioro Committee, Padmanabhaya Committee, Malimat Committee. These four are right. And you can add even second ARC, also recommended for the reforms. So let's see the second 15th question. Which of the following statement is correct regarding Coir Geo Textiles? Why it is in news? Why it is in news? Because the government had decided to use these for in the road construction under Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. This scheme is implemented under the Ministry of Rural Development. Now, definitely you have to know why this was ordered to use in road construction. What is the reason? It is resistant to rot, molds and moisture. Correct? Whether if you don't know or not, it is resistant to rot, molds and moisture should be correct because they are using for the road construction. If this is not resistant, they will not use it. So one is correct. It has a permeable, natural and strong fabric with high durability. This is correct. And this is correct. If it is impermeable, then it will not be used for road construction. And it is totally biodegradable and helps in soil stabilization. This is also correct. So if 1 and 2 is correct, 1 and 2, 3 is correct, answer is D. How can you say it is biodegradable? Because it's coir. Coir is obtained naturally. So it is biodegradable. So come to the next question, 16th question. In 16th question you should know what is, before going to that question you should know what is endemic, what is epidemic, what is pandemic. Because COVID-19 is a pandemic, before becoming pandemic it is endemic. What about epidemic? What about endemic? Endemic or malaria. Why malaria is endemic? Because it is a common disease in tropical forest areas. Because in tropical forest areas mosquitoes breeding is very common. So Africa is still suffering from malaria. So what you will say with malaria and COVID-19? You can easily derive your own definition for endemic and epidemic or pandemic. Endemic means this. See, malaria will not grow, will not spread as fast as COVID, we know it. Okay, malaria is fixed to particular region, but COVID is not like that. From Wuhan to, it has spread to the all continents except Antarctica. So now let's see. Now you will come to know what is the definition. If you know this much idea, you will come to know what is the definition. A disease is called an endemic when the present or usual prevalence of its infection agents is constant within a given geographical area or population group. Correct. When the cases begin to rise, it is classified as epidemic. If this epidemic has been recorded in several countries and areas, is called a pandemic. This is a classic example of COVID. This is a classic example of malaria. So the answer is C. Now come to the 17th question. Consider the following statement regarding the inter-battlefield group. Inter-battlefield group means integrated battlefield group. In integrated battlefield group, for this group the head will be major general. Okay, in this group the number of true soldiers will be 5,000. So for this 5,000 the head will be major general. Okay, this group is formed for both offensive roles and defensive roles, and this group mobility will be fast, means they can mobilize within 12 to 48 hours based on the location. You should know about this integrated battlefield group. Why you should know? Because it is in news. Due to the COVID-19 breakout, the Indian Army has postponed the official launch of integrated battlefield group. It is in news. Now let's see the options. Each integrated battlefield group will be headed by the major general and comprises 55,000 troops. Correct. The integrated battlefield troop are to perform both offensive role and defensive role. Correct. Integrated battle group will be able to mobilize within 12 to 48 hours based on location. Correct. So answer is D. Arrange the following UV radiation according to the wavelength in increasing order. Why UV radiation is in news? Because scientists are doing research to use UV germicidal irradiation to detect virus in public places. Which virus? Coronavirus. To stop transmission. So whole story is scientists are studying about UV germicidal irradiation to detect the virus in public places to stop transmission. That's it. So that's why the UV is in use. C. Okay, fine. And what is the question? Arrange the following UV radiation according to their wavelength in increasing order. Ultraviolet C, ultraviolet B, ultraviolet A. So you have to arrange it in increasing order. 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. In increasing order. Ultraviolet C is short. This one is medium. This one is long. So increasing order means 1, 2, 3. Answer is B. That's it. Arrange the following ultraviolet types according to their harmful nature in increasing order. Ultraviolet C, ultraviolet B, ultraviolet A. Here they are asking ultraviolet harmfulness nature. Harmful nature, right? So here you know that wavelength. This is short, this is medium, this is long. So shorter the wavelength, more harm it will do. Longer the wavelength, less harm it will do. How you can say? Example, radio. Radio wavelength is long. Here, electromagnetic radiation, very harmful, like X-rays, gamma rays, etc. So you have to arrange in increasing order. Sorry, here you have to arrange in increasing order the harmfulness. So 3, 2, 1 is answer. B. Consider the following statements regarding Nile River. Why Nile River is in news? Due to the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Because of this, Nile River is in news. Okay, actually it is Blue Nile River, which flows from the Ethiopia and comes and merged with White Nile. White Nile has its origin Victoria Lake. This Victoria Lake is spread in Uganda and Tanzania and Kenya. Here you have to understand this Nile River will cut across 10 countries, and it will not flow from north to south. It will flow from south to north. So wait a second. If this is Africa, river flow from north to south. If this is Africa, what sea is here? Here the sea is Mediterranean Sea. So the Nile River mouth is in the Mediterranean Sea, and from here the Blue Nile will come. This is White Nile. Here the Nile River will form arcuate shape delta. Okay, so now let's see the options. It passes to the 10 countries, correct. It forms arcuate delta, correct. It empties into Red Sea, wrong. So remove 3, 3, 3, answer is A. Very simple. This is Red Sea. This is Mediterranean Sea. This is Arabian Peninsula. This is India. This is Madagascar. Here only Suez Canal is there. That's it. So for today, that's it. Thank you.